Welcome to Alphabet Corner.
There was an attempt.
It blends in with the screen too much. The other one I have is more inclusive because it's not just the rainbow, but it's the Black Lives Matter in trans colors, but it says a bank's name on it, so
Oh, fair. The one that's at every Pride, right?
every single one.
Every single one.
I actually have a bag of LGBT goodies, I call them, somewhere around here. Yeah. Anyways. I had it at Pride and like it got filled up with all these different Pride things. I'm like, okay. Oh, a pen, thank you. Oh, another pen, thank you.
Right, it's like a business expo, but gayer.
Oh, a wristband. I feel so special. Oh. So before we started recording, I was looking at, the judiciary branch, and I just
How skewed it is.
it's I get frustrated daily by how fucked up our government branches are. Like, in the least fucked up position is the president, and that says a lot. This is so much. Like, Congress and the judiciary branch are like, there needs to be term limits. I'm sorry, but they need to, like,
Oh, yeah.
both branches have to have a term limit. I swear. Like even if it's just 8 years, like, okay, I get it. The president is 8 years max.
Right.
Unless for some chance, like, they were vice president, the president died, and they can get 10 years. But it's just ass backwards.
Yeah, there's a term limit for the figurehead. So think of it this way: the president is the head of our government. Okay, the head.
Mm-hmm.
But on one shoulder we have the legislature, Congress, and then on the other shoulder we have the Supreme Court. And together they form together to form the neck, and the neck turns the head. Okay, they're steering the ship. They don't have turn limits.
I mean, the president is definitely just a puppet for, like, whoever is in charge of the other two branches at that time. Like, yes, the president says a lot of great things and tries to pass a lot of things, but the other two are basically, wait, this does not align with our agendas. We want to demoralize our country's people. We want to make them feel less than and stomp all over them, and you're not going with what we want. So we're going to put a stop to that. It's depressing.
It is. Don't get me wrong, the president has some important roles too, but the other branches have, I feel, they're more impactful because they affect direct change with us instead of, I mean, yeah, I'm not belittling any branch of the government here, but the one that affects us the most pretty much is the legislature and also the judicial branches.
Well, one of my biggest things is, like, no matter what branch you're in, you should not be older than the average life expectancy of your populace. Like, our average U.S. Expected life expectancy is 77 years old. Like,
right.
You're closer to death than the majority of the people you actually represent.
Right. I understand. Yes, I'm glad there are some age minimums you have to meet, but there should be an age maximum for each one. Honestly, um, you can't stay in touch if you've been out of touch for 50 years. Okay, you can't have the best interests of the still conscious American. The ones who are going to have to live with your decisions. Um, you can't make those changes and lead if you don't know what they need.
And like all these laws that have been passing in the last year or so,
Mm-hmm.
like across our country, are just appalling. Like right now, Ohio, August, by the way, for those of you that are tuning in, if you live in Ohio, go out and vote on August 8th. Issue 1.
Or go now. Or early voting has opened. Go now.
Well, there you go. Find out where you can early vote and go do that. But it is imperative that we go out and vote. I, for one, will be voting no against issue 1. I cannot tell you to vote no, but I will be voting no.
As will I. I think we touched on it on our last episode
Yeah.
about the draconian measures they're trying to take.
Right, and then they're the ones that were like, "Oh, we're not gonna have any special elections because we don't need those or special votes," you know. But then here they are, months after saying that, "Oh, we're gonna put in a special vote," and not really announce it to anybody.
Right. Only the people we want to know.
Like some of those that watch that something news, Ox News.
Right. The Volps news.
But like it's just so and then there's all these child labor laws passing through all these Republican states now too, where they're trying to make it legal for kids to be able to work in factories and what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
oh, I know, yeah, and not have to have any kind of restrictions in some states or any specific like hours. You know, they're trying to get children to make up the missing hours because no one wants to work their crummy jobs for even crummier pay.
like I don't know how, like, okay, I know I worked as a kid, but they weren't like factory jobs.
Right.
They weren't like jobs that were going to get me killed. I mean, I probably could have died, a couple of them, but
right,
not
they're
because.
dangerous for children. I mean,
But
if
like,
we can't trust them to drive, how are we going to have them work in a factory?
if we can't trust them to smoke, how can we trust them to work?
Smoke or drink.
Like, and like the fact of like, I don't know about you, but for me, those were my high school years. My high school years were stressful.
Oh yeah, I don't know how I could have worked that kind of job. I worked during the school year at least at like grocery stores and such.
I sold cookbooks. I went door to door. I mowed yards. I was a janitor for the school. Like simple things.
Right, not a big deal. I mean, the typical stuff you see in movies. I mean, even horror movies. Babysitters. Babysitters are fine.
Babysitter's Club, best book series ever.
Shh. Kids don't read. What are you talking about?
There was another one I used to love, not Babysitter's Club, but it was about these 4 siblings, and they lived in caboose on a train from a train, and they made like living
Oh, some kind of boxcar.
boxcar kids. I think that's what it's called. I have to Google this. Um, yeah, the
Boxcar
boxcar
Children.
children.
I
Man,
forgot there was it was a big series. Yeah,
now they're all animated, like
Gertrude Warner.
the whole story series from when they first like ran away to like when they were living in this boxcar and they turned this boxcar into like this, like in my head it was like this immaculate house. That was a good
Well,
series as a kid.
right, and to think that book, I believe, came out, yeah, in 1924.
You know that's
The
probably what's going to
original.
end up happening is they're going to make all these kids work and they're all going to run away and live in boxcars. And then they're going to ban these books from the schools in Florida.
Mood.
Oh my god.
It says published 1924 to present, but I think the last one was written. The last one I can see without deep diving, I guess, was like in 1996. Gertrude was at it for years. I guess. It includes more than 160 titles, with more being released every year. Series is aimed at readers in grades 2 to 6th. Anyway, that was a trip down memory lane. I forgot about that.
Man, that was like that's how I got my pizza, free pizzas from Pizza Hut.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry I named it, but at this point I don't think it matters.
It doesn't, because I don't think there's a book it program anymore, is there?
There's a book, like you read so many books and you got a free
Probably
pizza
Kindle it. Right, especially with the book burnings, book bans.
Oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous because you're so terrified of what's in a book.
Right. Oh no, the children are going to learn to think for themselves. Ah.
Oh my god, did you hear about that woman on TikTok? The girl, she's not even a woman. She's a girl for all intents and purposes. She's a legal adult though. So, but she's on her college campus and she was getting on an elevator and two drag queens got on the elevator with her. And she was like, I can't believe they allowed people to show their sexuality. Like, first of all, for anybody that doesn't know, a drag queen doesn't automatically make somebody queer, gay, or lesbian. Because there are a lot of straight people that do drag as well.
Yeah.
Robin Williams, for example. Like, it's not someone's sexual orientation to be in drag. It's not.
It is.
So, but like she made like a whole deal about like why they shouldn't be on college campuses. It shouldn't be allowed. And I'm like, it made me think about that one time when the story I told you about how that guy came to Cedar Point and was like, we can't believe there should be a warning sign. I'm like, okay, first of all, if anybody needs to be warned, we need to be warned there's Christians on site because they are some of the most bigoted people there ever was. Like, I know don't get me wrong, there are a lot of loving, caring, kind Christian people. But some of the biggest hypocritical, bigoted people I've ever met are Christian.
Right.
Quote unquote.
Preach about an all-loving God, but then hate everyone else. Excuse?
Right. And I grew up.
How about you act like you're deity, okay?
Right. I grew up in a Christian home. Like, my mom is a very kind Christian woman. Her and my stepfather, they work at a soup kitchen every so often. Like, they donate their time to help other people, and they do a lot of Christian things. My mother-in-law is one of the most giving people, and she's a very good example of a Christian. Very good example. But then you know they're one in a million, and then you have these ones are quote unquote Christians that just are spewing all these hateful things. And I know that when I was growing up, Like God, the number one thing was God is love. Love is the most important thing. And in a lot of religious beliefs, love is the primary root of that religious belief. And for someone to turn around and say, "Oh no, it's only if you love a certain way, only if you follow my rules will I love you," and that gives Christians such a bad rep.
Right. Conditional love is not equal.
It's not. It's not equal at all.
Mm-mm. And
But
if an omnipotent, omniscient, all-loving God were to hate just one specific thing it created, it chose to make that way. That sounds
oh
like it's a hypocritical God not worthy of worship. But luckily, it's
yeah,
usually just people twisting things to their own aims and twisting the word of their God or their prophets or any of the other people who speak for it there to serve their own aims a lot of the time. So it's not a denouncement of religion, but those who twist religion and faith into hate. That is
yes,
what we're talking about. We're
right.
denouncing.
Like we're denouncing those that call themselves Christian but spew hate.
Right. They call themselves Christian but aren't very Christ-like.
Thank you for the clarification. I mean, just like, there's people in all communities that, have those people that need to be checked. And I think I'm a firm believer that if it's coming from your pot, it is your responsibility to scoop out the evil and, you know, do away with it or repair or fix it. Like if you're in a boat, better analogy here, this one works better. We all have our own boats. If there's a leaky hole, it's our job to patch that hole in our own boat.
That's true. That's true. Not only do you take care of your own, you also take care of your problematic own. Um, it reminds me of a parable because I too grew up Christian, Catholic specifically. There is a parable that reminds me of that. Oh, here. I think I found it. Let's see. This one's going to probably be a little bit better. But there's like in the book of Matthew, there's some kind of parable about harvesting wheat and sifting it from the chaff and
Oh
such,
yeah,
the
and then there's
winnowing.
the thistles and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh, well, we don't like I don't prefer the King James version, so I'm just going to read the World
Yeah, I don't
English
think
Bible
anybody should be reading
version.
the King James version, but I'll tell you that another time.
Yeah. Lots of blood and smoke with that one. But
Well, yeah, there's a
let's
lot of things that. Okay, while you're
and
looking that up.
mistranslations
Oh
because of
yeah, it's
certain
definitely like
agendas.
a
Another
lot of.
version of no hate like Christian hate.
Well, the thing is like, and then like a lot of Christians won't like me for this, but King James, before he wrote or had the translation of the Bible written, he was into witchcraft and also had a translation of the demonic Bible written first. Because he firmly believed those things, and then later on had the King James version of the Bible written. And what better way for someone that doesn't believe in Christianity to add some of their own stuff into the Bible? So
Right.
be careful. You never know. There might be some things in there you probably shouldn't be reading. But anyways.
Anyways,
find a better version.
so here's one version. His winnowing fork is in his hand, and he will clear his threshing floor, gathering his wheat into the barn and burning up the chaff with unquenchable fire. So sift through, find your golden wheat amongst your groups, and then burn up the not so good parts.
Right. And basically, it's not telling you to kill the bad parts, it's telling you to correct them.
Right. Expel, clear, cleanse. That doesn't have to be violent. It
You can
can
reprimand
simply
them and say,
be
"Hey, you're not doing what is Christ like. Like you're not doing like you're not being a good representation. Like we're gonna check you and let you know, hey, that's not what we stand for."
right. And not all checking has to be like confrontational either. It could just be, I'm not sure if you're aware, but versus, that's absolute bullshit and you should fucking learn kind of shit.
And the thing
You
is,
don't
like,
have to come at their throat. You can
right.
just use it as a teaching moment too. But there
And the
are
thing,
ones where you might have to resort to that there because
yeah,
of the way they are.
yeah. One of the things, like, and it's just like it's their responsibility to check, excuse me, their community. I feel like it's also our responsibility to check people in the LGBT community who are wrongfully doing things, like doing things in a way that would negatively affect our community or what we stand for.
Right.
Like turning to violence. That's not okay.
Yes,
Or,
it's not always okay. Correct.
you know, sometimes we have to be better than those that are persecuting us. And that's not okay. It sucks. But I don't know. It depends on the situation. It all comes down to what are they doing? Okay, is this really what we want to be the representation of our community? Or, like for example, there was people in our community that were trying to say that, oh, we should allow pedophilia. No, we should not.
A very, 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 very minute, like head of the pin amount. Yes,
Yeah, like it was a
are
small
saying
small
that.
amount.
Very minute.
Like
But of course, the
like a
ones who
tenth.
stand out are the ones with these completely insane ideas. Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Like that's definitely not something we should be that's like we reprimand that. Like that's not okay.
Right. Gays like men, lesbians like women, and then everyone else likes other versions, adult versions of whatever they like. They don't like children.
Exactly. Like the reason I brought that one up is because a member of my family was like, "Oh, they're trying to let pedophilia into the LGBT." I'm like, "No, we're not. We're like not allowing."
No, and most of us gays don't even want kids.
Like
So, ew, no. Ugh.
that's propaganda coming from the right
Straight
wing.
people. Yeah,
Like it's
straight right wing, like
fanatics.
yeah. I mean, you have to be kind of batshit crazy to think that's acceptable.
Right. All right. Here. So, there was that. Okay, so the law that they passed that recently that allows companies to refuse members of the LGBTQ if it's against their belief, like they don't have to
Mhm.
service us. Now, recently there was a Walgreens pharmacist who refused to give a trans person their medication. Told them they could come back later when they weren't there because it was against their religious beliefs. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding is that the law is for companies or private businesses that say that to refuse that service, not for the employees to refuse that service.
That would be an important distinction.
Like, where's that line at? Because if anything, I feel like, and then that employee was like going after Walgreens for being pained, like being in an emotionally painful situation. And I'm like, okay, sounds like you're just trying to cause problems.
Yeah.
Like someone, because like if a doctor orders medication for somebody, it is not your right as a pharmacist to deny that medication for somebody.
Right. You
It's
might
a
not be a
prescription.
doctor, but in the medical profession, you're still supposed to do no harm, whether you take that oath or not. Actually, that should just be your personal creed there, regardless of any other religious or any other bias. Do no harm should be everyone's creed. It should be everyone's direct morals.
Honestly, I agree. Like it shouldn't.
You shouldn't need religion or their lack of to say I shouldn't be harming other people. Okay.
I mean,
But some
common
people
sense.
have to have a crutch in order to tell them to do that. Or other people have to say, well, although I don't have a religion or any of that, I have my own set of codes. It should know. It should be hardwired into our DNA, honestly. And if you're ignoring, just it's like common courtesy. Not so common anymore, I guess.
What was the golden rule?
Do unto others.
I think we were all
Or
raised with
was it
that.
what? Or is the golden rule now just what did Congress say I can get away with? What did the judicial system say I can get away with? I don't know. If y'all are that bored to have to go out of your way and do this stuff, you obviously got a lot more time. Maybe that's where they should be making up all these hours. Not hiring children.
I
Just
mean,
saying.
isn't it like I think it's like in Matthew 7, something like that. I don't know. It's like basically do unto others as you would like them to do unto you kind of situation. Um, but like a lot of people skew that as well. Like a lot of people say, okay, well, if I was like them, I'd want this done to me, and then so they do that to them. But it's not. That's not what that means. It means like be kind to people, treat them with the kindness you would like to be treated as with. You know, like. Anyways, I'm not. I'm no. I'm no Pharisee. I'm no.
Biblical
Uh,
scholar.
yeah, exactly.
No, that's fair. It also kind of shows up also in Leviticus too, but Leviticus for many Christians is a more obsolete book since that's Old Testament.
Anyways, we keep going back to religion today. My bad.
That's okay. It's only been around for, millennia.
Hmm. It's only one of the top selling books in the world.
That's hard because it's a book of books, so it should have its own category. Just saying.
All right. So list of all the best selling books. Let's see here. We're gonna go down to okay, well, it's not in the top 5 or not top 6. Oh, The Little Prince is one of the top selling books of all time. I love The Little Prince.
I don't think I ever read The Little Prince.
The top selling book of all time is A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens.
Mm-hmm. That's understandable.
The third, okay, so The Little Prince is number 2. Number 3 is about a little boy who lives in a cupboard and grows up to be a powerful magician,
Mm-hmm.
written by She Who Shall Not Be Named.
Yes.
Anyways. um, and then there were none by Agatha Christie.
Yeah, which had a different name, if you didn't know.
I thought it did. I don't remember it being.
We're not going to repeat the name.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Agatha. Agatha. Never gonna read an Agatha Christie book again.
And then it was also called this.
Wait, what? Let's scoop over what? Oh, chat.
It was first published in the UK by the Collins Crime Club in 1939 with a now offensive name because,
How
everyone should be.
how is that a top seller?
A U.S. edition was released in January of 1940 with the title "And Then There Were None," taken from the last 5 words of the song. It's based on an 1869 minstrel song. So honestly, minstrel songs, minstrel shows, if you know what those are, you can understand why it has a more racially charged name.
Then after that one, there was
Let's move on.
Dream of the Red Chamber by Kao Cao Zuquin. It's a Chinese name.
I think
Original
it's
language was in Chinese.
Sao Shuichin.
Thank you. I would have never gotten that correct. And then the final on the top 6 list is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought, I used to think that C.S. Lewis had the top written book, which I didn't realize didn't have that. But the Bible is not even in the top list. I thought for sure it was.
You probably can't include it because there are so many different versions of it.
Oh yeah, there's
And like I said, it's a compendium of books. It's not just
great list of books in here though. As a bonus, the 7th most popular book was The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. Such a good book series. Anyways. I wish we could take She Who Shall Not Be Named off the top sellers list, but we can't.
Right? Wouldn't it be amazing if the world could just demand a refund from them?
Oh my god, right?
Yes, we know you were having a hard time and you wrote it on a napkin, but
let's just face it though, it's just Star Wars rewritten. So Montana City allegedly withholds Pride Parade permits over anti-drag law lawsuits. This happened 4 days ago.
Yeah.
Montana Pride's organizers allege the city of Helena is refusing to issue permits for the annual LGBTQ celebration because of the new law. The organizers of Montana's largest LGBTQ Pride Parade joined a lawsuit Monday challenging a state law aimed at restricting drag performances. A group of there's not even that many people that live in Montana. Like, come on now.
There's more bears and wolves than humans in Montana.
Like, I'm pretty sure that I don't even know what the population is in Montana, honestly, but I'm pretty sure the majority of the people, like, it, whatever. Most of them are Canadian, aren't they?
Montana's population was last polled in last year at about 1.1 million.
$1.1 million.
Yeah. Wyoming, though. Wyoming is half of that. Wyoming is much more wild. Oh yeah, Montana has the state seal on their flag. Ugh. I love watching those videos about flags and how much of them are terrible. And then they always call Ohio's flag a cape. And I get it. She wears it well.
There's almost wow! I didn't realize Wyoming was such a small populace.
Yeah,
like Stark County has almost just as many people living there as the entire state of Wyoming. Man, it makes me wonder. You ever wonder about the state populace? Like, okay, so I'm weird in the way that I like random statistics like that. Like, what are most states known for? Like, how many states? Like, what's the what's the ranking? That's why one of my favorite YouTubers is Eugene from Try Guys. He does the ranking. Where he ranks different things. I love it. It's great. State population rankings. Oh, Ohio's in the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're number 7 on the list. We have at least 1 million more people than Michigan.
Well, you remember what they say at work, Ohio is so densely populated, that's why we had it just, cut up into different pieces before.
Right.
Because of the dense population centers.
So is it the most Ohio thing I ever said? Was first looking at the population of Michigan before any other state. Comparing the difference in population. So you already stated this one, but Wyoming is the least populated state in the U.S. Which is ironic because the second least most populous state actually kind of makes sense because of how small it is, and that's Vermont.
Vermont? Okay.
Yeah. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states with less than 1 million population. They should just merge the Dakotas into one Dakota, and then they would have both. Then together, they would have over 1 million populace.
It's the land. They'd have, yeah. I think they should merge some of the smaller states if we were going to merge any.
I mean,
I also think we should give Puerto Rico statehood status already. At least we
I
can do it
agree.
legally,
Oh my
unlike what we
gosh,
did to
yes.
Hawaii. Yeah.
Why not? But I agree with you too, though. Like they could easily just make Rhode Island and Connecticut, or not? Yeah, Connecticut. Yeah, they're right next to each other, right? Like, why
Sorry,
don't
I'm
merge
petting a
those
dog.
two? And then they should merge New Hampshire and Vermont
Right.
and Maine. You know what? Just merge that whole area there and
Call
call it
it
New.
New England.
Yeah, not including New York, but like everything to the right of New York, just merge into one. Like, I bet you the only reason Massachusetts is so populated is probably Boston.
Yeah, Boston. Sorry,
Boston,
we're not.
Massachusetts. No, we're rednecks.
Yeah, that's all redneck.
Boston,
Sorry.
Boston,
No,
Boston,
I'm not even gonna try.
Massachusetts. Um, but like New York is
Only
19
Theo?
million. How's New York only? That's not right. What?
What?
How's New York only 19 million? How's it not more?
I mean, New York City is about 8 to 9 million on its own. And that includes the boroughs and Manhattan, if I recall correctly.
Okay, well, that is. I could look at this all day, so let's move on. I really could look at this all day. Wow, I would have never guessed that New York. I thought their population was so much bigger, but I guess
There is a lot of open land in New York.
there is, yeah. But like New York City is built up, you know.
Right. For such a small area, it's densely packed with 9 million
More
people.
than almost half their population.
Plus tourists.
So did you know? Random fact. Did you know that um, there are like over 200,000 citizens in the other countries at the moment, and most people do not realize that if they're overseas, they can still vote.
Oh yeah, absentee voting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that because they're overseas, they can't vote.
Just have to, in a timely fashion, request your absentee ballot and submit
That's
it before the deadline.
and those of you that have expired driver's licenses, go get them renewed so you can vote. I think I'm dried out of what was okay, before we were talking about Montana.
I don't know. That might be a good place to wrap up for today.
I think so too.
I have a pacing dog I need to attend to since I'm dog sitting today.
All right. Well, I will figure this out and we will play us out right. Thank you for being the best part of us. And
You almost said it.
I almost said it. Oh, I need a break. Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you all. Put anything in the comments that you would like us to discuss, and we'll go from there. Can I do the outro from the other one for alphabet?